Welcome to InfoHub in Depth. On this program, we continue to look at the successful outreach in the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo region. In this report, we take a look at the villages visited by the ministers in the central Rupununi area.
The ministerial outreach began with a motorcade around Letem on Friday afternoon. This was then followed by a meeting with residents at the Amerindian Hostel in central Letem. Present at that meeting was Minister of Education Dr. Nicolette Henry, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjitan, and Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenwich. But before we tell you what took place at that meeting, let's look at an earlier visit of Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams to the Letem Magistrate Court. During the visit, AG Williams gave the commitment that legal aid will be made available to residents of Region 9 and other communities in the hinterland region. This is the first time the service would be brought to the hinterland.
A lot of people come into the courts without legal representation. I have a project, of course, I'm being funded support for the criminal justice program in Ghana, an IDB grant of loan of $8 million US. And we are targeting reducing the prison population by means of such as giving legal representation to people who come before the courts unrepresented and end up on remand unnecessarily.
As he met with Principal Magistrate Alan Wilson and staff members of the court, AG Williams expressed satisfaction with the fact that the court did not have a backlog of cases.
It's good though that you could come into a courtroom and it's sparse like this. If you go into a courtroom in the magistrate's court in Georgetown, you know, to get into it is an effort. So it's clear that they don't have a crime problem here in Letem in particular, and certainly in the region as a whole.
Also on Friday, a smart classroom was commissioned by Minister of Education Dr. Nicolette Henry. Students attending the school within the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo region will now benefit from this technological first in the community. The smart classroom is the brainchild of the Ministry of Education in partnership with NSERT and the Regional Democratic Council.
Pleased to be here for the commissioning of this smart classroom. As you are aware, we are working to ensure that we have 21st century teaching methods in our schools, and the Smart Classroom Initiative is an important component of technology-enabled learning. So what this will do, it will bridge the gap in some ways and certainly facilitate networking and communication with the coastland and the hinterland. As you will see in your demonstration, and as you can see now, we can actually interface in real time with teachers in Georgetown and also NSERT. So I trust that this facility will be used to enhance learning for students in the region. I particularly like the idea that it is centrally located, and so it would allow access and use by a wide cross-section of the student population here from the Rupununi. And I trust that you make good use of this technology. I look forward to hearing how it's going to be used, how often you will use it, how beneficial it will be for what you're doing. And with time, I hope that we will be able to commission other smart classrooms in this region.
In attendance were students of Aripaima Primary School and St. Ignatius Secondary. Minister Henry encouraged the students to grasp the multitude of opportunities they will be afforded with the use of the centre. Student of St. Ignatius Secondary, Alexandra Nfu, who has plans to become a computer software programmer, says the smart classroom would benefit her as well as other students who find difficulty in concentrating in one area for a long period of time.
There's a lot of benefit because some students that were slow in learning in books and skipping through pages, I know they could look and they could see what is there, and they could actually hear sounds. They could hear, well, see for themselves, explore, and use the internet to browse and get their answers for their work. And actually, it will be more fun rather than skipping through pages and seeing just one dry picture. If they're doing research, they can see a lot of pictures.
I'm very grateful for this program. I think that it serves as a great initiative. I think this classroom is very environmentally friendly in the sense that it will help us to focus and to concentrate more. I think it helps teachers to teach us in a way that we would be enjoyable.
The smart classroom is equipped with a smart board for interactive learning, internet access, and houses a resourceful e-library. This project is in keeping with the aim of the Education Ministry to provide enhanced learning opportunities for all. In the meantime, 2 new nursery schools were also commissioned in Region 9 in the communities of Pariquarna and Tapatinga by Education Minister Dr. Nicolette Henry. The Pariquarna Nursery School, located 14 miles outside of Lethem, was constructed at a cost of $13 million.
This morning is particularly important for us, not only as a government, but certainly you, the residents of this community, because you have a brand new school, which I believe that once properly utilized will serve in good stead for the development of the children who are currently attending and those that will come after. As a government, we are interested in the development of all of our people, and therefore we will continue to upgrade facilities, build new facilities, and modernize education in each and every community across this country.
Meanwhile, parents in Tabatinga are elated over the construction of a new $14 million Tabatinga annex of the Aripaima Nursery School, which serves to reduce the overcrowding of the mother school located in central Lethem. The school now houses 80 learners.
Well, I'm so happy for this nursery school that has been built for us and for my children, and it benefits me a lot. It will benefit me a lot because I don't have to walk that far distance to go to Aripaima.
I feel that this school is going to benefit a lot of the children, not only my kid alone, because of the distance most of the children have to go over into Lethem.
The commissioning of these schools is in keeping with the ministry's goal to provide equitable educational opportunities to all.
Meanwhile, back in Lethem, a public meeting began at approximately 6 o'clock in the evening with Minister of Education Dr. Nicolette Henry assuring parents that their children would have the same opportunities as the children living on the coastland.
The minister said it is a known fact that in previous times, children on the coast had more opportunities than those living in the hinterland regions. However, this is no longer the case. Dr. Henry said as the government has already taken steps to ensure all the nation's children benefit the same in the area of education. She said in terms of improvement in education, especially in the area of information technology, the government has been working on curriculum reform.
One of the things that we're working on is curriculum reform. And that is something that this government sees as very important. And why is curriculum reform important? Curriculum reform is very important because we need to modernize what our children are taught in school so that they can be at a comparable level to other students in other parts of the world, particularly those in the Caribbean region. And you might be surprised to learn that curriculum reform is taking place at a time when we haven't had reform since 1976.
Lethem has been earmarked as the next major transport hub in the country, and according to the Minister of Public Infrastructure, David Patterson, money has already been allocated for the project. As he spoke with residents of central Lethem, Minister Patterson said the facility will bear similarity to the Eugene Caraya International Airport at Ogle.
We said in 2015 that we would like to move Lethem Airport to a regional, international type airport. Same size and qualities and services as is available at Eugene Correa Airport, where we landed in Oval. We have gone there. The consultancies you probably would have seen for the airport has already been awarded. CDB, it's $4 million US, and they are redesigning it. We've even started in this year's budget. Right now, there's a tender out to recap the existing airport.
A $10.4 billion grant, equivalent to approximately US $50 million, has been accessed for the project.
They have to do a new runway, an improved runway. The length is there. We have the length already. It's over 6,000 feet. They have to do a new terminal building. They have to do a control tower. You have to do a new fire station, shops, and all the immigration sections and all these things that are required for an international airport. All of those monies has been secured. The contracts are out for the design.
By next month, public consultation with residents will begin for the project. Minister Patterson also revealed that government has plans for the Lethem Power Company. He said the contract for a geotechnical study was awarded to a German firm in 2018.
Basically, everybody, the old people like me would know Mako was a hydro that used to work. There was slippages, and there was a slide, a mud slide, and the hydro was damaged. We want to bring back the hydro up and running. We have monies to bring back the hydros up and running. But we don't want to make the same mistake again. You'll be on. So therefore we had to break. So we have an international firm who's doing some drilling and geotechnical, so that when we put back and we bring it the hydro up and running, it will not fail again. Even if you have a mud slippage, it is so designed to withstand that.
On matters of national security, Minister of Public Security Kemraj Ramjatan said efforts are being made to strengthen the marine section of public security.
We also have consultancies going right now and strengthening the marine section, because we're going to get oil soon. We have to now have a capacity, together with the Coast Guard of the Army, to help catch all those potential pirates who might want to go do damage to the oil sector and call for, big ransom and all.
Minister Ramjatan spoke frankly about the issue of trafficking in persons, telling residents that silence encourages the violence perpetrated against victims.
Young Amerindian girls being sold literally. This thing is very bad. And we must have the morality, individual, personal morality, to know that we should not be doing this and that we should be speaking out. But far too few of us speak out. And when you don't speak out, the things get worse. As I have always said, silence is violence. We continue to shut them out, the worse we're going to get. More and more is going to happen.
Minister Ramjatan says there will be reorganizing of the regional policing division.
We want to realign our regional divisions and make the regional divisions the divisions of the police force. In this Lethem area, Rupununi area, we had one police division called F Division, dealing with about 3 regional divisions. Region 1, 7, 8, and 9. We want this regional division to be the same thing like with the division for the police force. So we're going to have a commander inside of Regional Division 9, a set of senior superintendents and all of that, so that they could take charge of this division, just like how A Division does it, or Borby's B Division does it, and so on and so on. Because when you have one big F Division for 3 divisions, and then the police commander is stationed in Georgetown, somewhere next to the seawall there, it is not the best thing.
As the meeting progressed, Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge was asked to update residents on the Ghana-Venezuela border situation. He began by telling residents that on the whole issue of movement of people, one must be understanding.
For the Guyanese, let me say this to you. Please do not forget that the borders that you find across the bridge and elsewhere along the river are borders that have seen Guyanese moving out of Guyana in the past. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So you have to be patient and understanding, because until now, you have been the main set of people moving across those borders.
In the same breath, the minister urged Venezuelans coming to Guyana to understand that Guyana may not be able to readily accommodate a large number of persons all at one time.
So it is difficult, and you'll have to bear with us, because where one would normally be able to provide facilities very quickly, build facilities, we are challenged in that regard. I can't solve that problem of migrants into Guyana here, but what I would say to you is that if you are skilled, you have special skills, whether it's in electronics or in teaching, we can see what might be done to utilize those skills in this community and elsewhere. That is the commitment, that's the only commitment I can make in that regard. We'll have to work on this.
Residents were then given an opportunity to ask questions and raise their concerns, which were responded to by the ministers.
Honorable Minister, Lethem is a tongue. Lethem was named the tongue on the 24th of October, 2015 in the Parliament of Guyana. Lethem was declared a tongue on the 20th of October, 2017. Yet, when we are traveling from Georgetown to Lethem, we find that we're being treated as an ordinary village, where we have to exit the minibuses to check in at the Mabura police station, even if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and it's raining. We find it also very much uncomfortable where we have to check in at the Carkwood at 3 o'clock in the morning. Mothers with their little baby have to come out of those buses and go and check in. We also found that even though we would have just checked in at Kurupakari, a mere 73 kilometers away from Carkwood, we have to debus and check in at Carkwood. We're asking that the Carkwood outpost and the Mabura outpost, where the policemen can come to the bus, we have a manifest, and to check the persons in the bus, and not to ask the passengers to come out at that hour of the morning.
This matter of security versus liberty is always at a collision course. We have to make checks to find out indeed whether there are people who are being trafficked. We are making checks. That is the rationale that I understand the checks at Mabura and Urupukari and so on had behind them, the purpose. Of course, I believe that with advanced technologies and all of that, advanced methods, we can go away with it. This question was asked of me when I was here under the Parliamentary Sectoral Committee on Security, and I indicated that we should have a kind of a study done. And the then Police Commissioner, Mr. Ramnarayan, indicated to me, and this is for you, Beckles, because you asked the question, that the people are, one set of people are complaining, just like we got with the Venezuelans, and that there is need for checking because there's too much drugs, contraband, and trafficking that we have to check at these points and so on, and other points too. But I take your point that at 1 o'clock in the night, if police are going to do that, rain falling, I mean, that again, Mr. King, or the senior commander of the region, we have to have what is called a better system of search so that the hardships created in those hours of the night in inclement weather do not affect the people. And so I suppose I'll have to put up another SOP in relation to those searches. So expect that coming in view of the fact that I thought that would have been addressed by Mr. Ramrine some time ago.
We're having a lot of underage children going out to the night parties. On the last council, I was sitting as the chairperson for social development. I had called a meeting with the children welfare officer, the then police officer, and the child protection officer. We had a meeting with the then officer, Mr. Banwari, and all the bar owners, asking an assistant to help us with our children because we know how much our president has been putting into education. And we as adults, we have to see our children come the right way. But to date, the problem still continues. Because if you go into the parties, we're not getting assistance from the police.
Well, first of all, I want to say that we recognize that there are many social issues, and a lot of these issues have to be addressed from a collaborative perspective. In the education sector, we have stakeholders, and one of the most important stakeholders in all that we do are parents. And a lot of what happens outside of the classroom will have to be managed in a collaborative process between the Ministry of Education and the home. We don't have night schools, as you probably would know, but we do have an interest in what happens to the children, whether it's day or night. And so if you were to look, I keep referring to this newspaper, and it's really, really important that you look at it. On the first page, Education Ministry launches first mobile counseling vehicle. And so we commissioned a mobile clinic, as it is, to address some of the social problems affecting our students in the school environment. And so for the first time in the Ministry of Education, we are expanding the services that we provide to support our students outside of mainstream academic areas.
For a number of years, we had young people coming out from secondary school, and after leaving secondary school, we don't know where they go. Now, we need to know where they go. And we believe that can happen by we having technical school within our community for those young people. We have an industrial area that may open sometime, and we also have the oil company. We were told that foreigners are working with the oil company because Guyanese are not skilled to do what the oil company required. We know sometime there will be training, and we want some of our young people to be trained to fill some of the spaces.
What the education system is doing is preparing young people and students so that when they leave school, they'll be able to get a job. They'll be able to matriculate. They'll be able at least to get the basic requirement where they can function, whichever field the student will so desire to serve. What we currently have is a situation where currently a lot of the persons who would have left the school system, as you pointed out here in Letham and in many other communities, either they do not have the foundation to go on to take up some of the more technical positions that you're referring to, and so we have to put systems in place which we have already begun so that they will be able to get these jobs. And let's speak specifically to what is happening in preparation for our young people to take up positions in petroleum. So what we're doing at the Ministry of Education, first of all, we've had to start programs where we did not have these programs existing, because as you're well aware, this is not something that we were doing in the past. It is new, and therefore you've had to done one, preparatory work to have the courses started. So the University of Guyana, for the first time, will be offering courses both at the bachelor's degree and master's level in terms of petroleum studies.
The meeting wrapped up at approximately 9 o'clock Friday night, with the ministers then attending a bonfire. On Saturday, from as early as 4 a.m., ministers and their teams traveled by land to villages in the north, south, and central Rupununi.
The village of Mururanao in Region 9 is roughly a 3-hour drive from Lethem, and its main livelihood is farming. The indigenous residents are from the Wuppishiana tribe and speak both English and their native language. During a visit to Mururanao on Saturday, Minister within the Ministry of Finance Jaipal Sharma urged Tushau Ambrose Bento and villagers to push for development of their community whilst ensuring they preserve their culture. Quote, "I want to make sure your community prospers. I want you to have new roads, new facilities for your children, but continue to preserve the community, your culture, your lifestyle, and the wildlife." He also took time to introduce the villagers to a number of initiatives and programs the government has in place that can benefit them. Quote, "Seek out government. There is the Sled Project in which communities like yours can benefit."
The Sustainable Livelihood and Entrepreneurial Development SLED project is designed to provide support for the expansion of the local economy in communities across the nation and to aid small enterprises with the goal of stimulating youth employment. The project was established in 2015 and was budgeted for under the Ministry of Communities and now comes under the purview of the Ministry of Social Protection.
The minister also spoke to villagers about the government's green economy plan, encouraging them to explore green tourism. He noted that Guyana's ecotourism potential remains unmatched and many benefits can be derived from the country's natural beauty blended with a vibrant indigenous culture. Minister Sharma also noted the government's plan to review legislation to ensure Guyana's First People benefit in every way. The junior minister was accompanied by a regional executive officer of Region 3, Jennifer Ferreira-Dugal. Whilst there, Minister Sharma and Ario Ferreira-Dugal handed over farming equipment and sport gear to Tushau Ambrose Bento and the village council.
On Sunday, as government ministers wrapped up their weekend outreach to Region 9, Ministers Amna Ali, Raphael Trotman, Catherine Hughes, and David Patterson headed to Hiawatha village for a final meeting. However, before they all arrived, the Minister of Natural Resources took a detour to check up on the Nappy Reservoir.
Minister Trotman told InfoHub the government has asked Conservation International to assist in developing a sustainable plan for the reservoir.
The idea was first conceived in late 2016 after there was severe drought in this part of Rupununi, and the President called a task force together and challenged certain ministers to relieve these conditions to ensure that it never happens again. So at the Ministry of Natural Resources, we came with the idea of a reservoir. This one is, in a sense, the largest man-made reservoir in Guyana. Some say the Lamar Conservancy is the largest, but certainly in this part of the country, it is the largest. The ministry has asked Conservation International to design a management plan, which we're working on, for them to manage it and sustain it at a community level. So it's a project that we're very proud of, not well known nationally, but certainly you see that this part of Rupununi will never be without water again for many, many decades to go.
The 4.5 million cubic meters of water reservoir was initially constructed for agricultural purposes, but government as well as residents are looking at other economically viable and sustainable projects. Minister Trotman says in this regard, consultations have been held with the 3 neighbouring villages of Nappy, Parishara and Hiawatha, and though there are concerns, residents are happy about the prospects of development.
We've completed a series of consultations with the villagers themselves as to what it is they want. Some are concerned, of course, about the encroachment of too many outsiders coming for recreation, but many of them are excited. Most are. Persons are talking about building their homes near to the water, and I would expect that by the end of this year we'll have a model plan that we can replicate elsewhere. Originally, the intention was to put a second reservoir in South Rupununi. That's still to be determined, but certainly we have now the Nappy Reservoir, which is a model, and we've agreed with the region that should let them and any other place nearby have a water challenge, and they should have a right to access this as well.
Upon their arrival to Hiawatha, the ministers mingled with members of the community before their meeting began.
Ministers Amna Ali, Raphael Trotman, Catherine Hughes and David Patterson, along with Region 3 REO Jennifer Ferrer-Dugal, were welcomed in song by pupils of the Hiawatha Primary School, Grade 6, under the direction of music director Joseph Abram. This was then followed by a poem by Grade 6 student Alana Lewis.
In the morning, your beauty is my inspiration. At midday, I simply bask in your splendor.
Minister Ali, during brief opening remarks, told villagers they remain close to the heart of government, adding that government will continue to support and develop the community.
I'm sure some of you will remember that we started the first Sustainable Livelihood Program right here in Hiawatha, where we have our sheep project. Do you remember that? Yes. And I am told this morning that so far we have 10 ewe and 1 ram. Isn't that good, Hiawatha? I guess the next time I come, we might double or triple that. You have seen that your region, your community benefited from presidential grants. You've benefited from community center and other smaller items in your community. And I want to say to you, Hiawatha, that is only a start. We have been in government for just about a little over 3 years. And we have been able to do all these developmental work in various communities.
Minister Trotman told residents that even as government is focused on developing its mining and mineral sectors, everything will also be done to protect the environment. Minister of Public Telecommunication Catherine Hughes told villagers that government was focused on developing technology throughout the country, but especially in the hinterland regions where communication remains a challenge.
Some of you will know just outside of Letta, there's a Digicel tower, there's a GT&T tower, there is a tower that was built since 2012 that was never connected in the last government. We are connecting that tower now. We got the monies, it is ready to go, so from Tuesday it will be working and we will be able to start connecting some of the villages and areas in the Middle.
Upon a request by Headmaster Dave Jeffrey, Minister Hughes committed to assisting the school to acquire 2 computers for its computer lab, which she said will be helpful as the government has begun to introduce smart classrooms around the country. Ministers Patterson and Ali also took responsibility separately for the upgrade, construction and furnishing of a multi-purpose building for the village and upgrades to the headmaster's quarters. Villagers also received donations of sporting gear and bicycles, among other items. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson concluded the meeting by telling villagers of plans for the $10.4 billion or US $50 million upgrade to the Lethem Airport, as well as road rehabilitation and construction for Region 9.
This brings us to the end of another InfoHub in Depth. Thanks for watching. Do join us again. Goodbye.